Last month, the government appointed a 1994 batch IAS officer, Anuradha Thakur, as the Secretary of the Department of Economic Affairs in the Finance Ministry. A first for a woman, the high-profile position has been occupied by the likes of former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and former Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission, Montague Singh Ahluwalia. But Thakur is hardly a rare breed now. The number of women currently posted as secretaries at the centre is 16 out of 90, that is almost 18%. There is Punya Srivastav heading Health, Deepti Gaur Mukherjee heading Corporate Affairs, Nidhi Khare heading the Consumer Affairs Ministry, Rachna Shah heading the Department of Personnel and Training, and many more. According to retired IAS officers who joined the service in the early 1980s, this figure is higher than the total percentage of women officers who were recruited into the IAS during their time. Women's increasing representation at the highest echelons of the Indian administration indeed tells the story of the long way the Indian civil services have come since the 1950s, when women IAS officers could lose their service if they got married. The change is palpable at lower levels too. According to data from October 2024, approximately 64 of the 236 joint secretaries serving in the government were women. This is 27%. At the state level, however, only 2 of the 36 officers serving as chief secretaries in states and union territories are women. Leena Nair, an officer of the 1982 batch, said the change started taking place from 2015 to 2016. We were merely 10% of us in the batch, but there was a time when 14 of us became secretaries, she said. There was a palpable change when the bias of postings faded and the attitude was that if you have proved your credentials, you will get the posting. There has been a steady rise in the number of women recruited in the IAS since 1951, when the first woman IAS officer was appointed. According to the Indian Administrative Service Officers data set compiled by the Trivedi Centre for Political Data at Ashoka University in 2020, in the 1950s, the number of women recruited hovered around 5%. By the 1970s, it increased to 15%, 25% in the 2000s, and 27% by 2020. The numbers you see at higher posts now is simply a result of more and more women joining the IAS and other services, said a senior IAS officer who wished anonymity. My batch, she said, has 25% women officers. That means 1 out of every 4 people is a woman. So for younger people to have a woman boss is no longer a rare occurrence, she said. You are slowly also seeing the posting bias fade away. You don't have women posted in just women and child development or social justice anymore, she said. According to the latest data, the secretary posts occupied by women include the President Secretary, Science and Technology, Legal Affairs, Labour, Department of Posts, Chemicals, Petrochemicals, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, and many others. Back in the day, we faced enormous biases when it came to postings. Forget about secretaries, women were not even made district collectors. They were confined to the secretariats in the states, said Leena Nair, the retired IAS officer. There was a geographical dimension to this. In states like Tamil Nadu or Kerala, you saw women rise to the top. In states like Haryana, Punjab, even a DM was unimaginable. However, according to Aruna Sharma, who is also a retired IAS officer, the glass ceilings for women officers began to be broken in the 1970s itself, when a few women began to get appointed as chief secretaries and even secretaries. This was also the time when discriminatory rules such as those concerning officers' marriages began to be repealed. However, even now, biases exist. As Nair points out, women are yet to get some of the top-notch posts like the Cabinet, Home, Defence Secretary, etc. It could be a matter of time when they get there. But biases exist at the state level too. According to data analysed by ThePrint as of 2022, while the number of women entering the IAS through the UPSC civil service examination was around 30%, the percentage of women given the all-important posts of DMs was no more than 19% across India. According to the data compiled from different state government websites, only 142 out of 716 districts analysed had women posted as DMs. Moreover, according to the data analysed, of the 47 districts that were categorized as affected by left-wing extremism until 2021, only 7 districts were headed by women collectors. There is a long, perhaps endless way to go when it comes to complete parity, said the IAS officer who wished to be anonymous. Being an officer requires immense hobnobbing with all kinds of people. The ability of a woman to go out and get a drink with a male politician is severely restricted in comparison to her male counterparts, she said. A lot of benefits and favoritism flows from these informal networks which women are simply not open to women. Then there are obviously the issues of marriage and parenting. Earlier this year, Sharda Muralidharan, who was then serving as the Chief Secretary of Kerala, took to social media to call out the prejudice faced by her as a dark-skinned woman even when she occupied the top post of the state bureaucracy. She said, "Heard an interesting comment yesterday on my stewardship as Chief Secretary, that it is as black as my husband's was white. It was about being labelled black with that quiet subtext of being a woman, as if there was something to be desperately ashamed of," she wrote. But surely, it is easier to fight prejudices from the corridors of power than from outside. You can read more about the story on ThePrint.in.